What's up, Biz Lovin' fam? Today we've got the brand new line of canned cocktails from Absolut Vodka. Now, I don't know about your personal feelings about Absolut, but I know for me, when I was younger, Absolut to me was like the bougie vodka, like the expensive vodka, like the it's a special night. Let's splurge a little and get some Absolut as opposed to whatever bottom shelf ridiculous vodka we were drinking at the time. We brought them in at the end of the week last week and immediately sold out. It was wild. And here's the thing, these aren't exactly like cheap by any means. For a 4-pack, I know in my area they're running between like $12 and $15. So they're a little bit more on the spendy side because hey, we've got Absolut Vodka in us. We're like the bougie canned cocktails. There's a line of vodka sodas and then there's a line of like cocktails, and the differences are important because the vodka sodas are going to be your low calorie. They're 97 calories a can, low, like no carbs whatsoever, no sugar. And then the canned cocktails are going to be your higher calorie, higher alcohol content, I think 21 grams of sugar per can, so significantly different from a nutrition standpoint. From a flavor standpoint, I have really no idea what to expect because of the fact that we did just bring them in, and so I have not had any feedback from the community as to how they ended up tasting. I do know that there was a lot of excitement around it. So honestly, because of the fact that there was always this mindset when I was like younger that Absolut Vodka was like the good stuff, I'm kind of excited to try them. Like, these are probably gonna be pretty good. So the flavors we've got for the vodka sodas, because that's where I'm gonna start, are the lime and cucumber. There's a raspberry lemongrass and then a grapefruit rosemary. I'm gonna do the grapefruit rosemary last because of the fact that rosemary is so pungent and it can really just completely wreck your palate. So I'm gonna go lime cucumber and then the raspberry lemongrass and then the grapefruit and rosemary, and then we'll do the actual like the canned cocktail line. Okay, the aroma of the cucumber is definitely the most intense out of a can. The lime is there, but it smells like it's more subdued than the cucumber, which is super weird. It really should be the other way around. And it smells surprisingly sweet. That doesn't mean it's going to present that way, but that's how it smells. All right, I love this. Like, I legit, this is yummy. I'm a sucker for a good cucumber cocktail, and I'm a sucker for a good like cucumber vodka. I don't know if it's produced anymore. I'm pretty sure it's not, but way, like maybe like 10 or 12 years ago, Skinny Girl was making a cucumber vodka that the summer that I discovered it, that was my jam. That was literally like all I drank, and I literally just drank it on ice because it was so refreshing and so delicious. And that's kind of where this takes me. It's like so light and it's so like fresh cucumber tasting, and the lime, just like in the aroma, is there, but it is more subdued than the cucumber, which again is super weird to me. I am gonna put these in a glass, not because I expect for there to be any color, not with these anyway, maybe with those, but just to see if it tastes any different once it's in a more aromatically friendly environment. Okay, as expected, absolutely no color whatsoever. The lime is a little more predominant out of a glass. And the lime is a little more predominant in the flavor when it's out of a glass. A lot, not super, but I gotta say, with 6 cocktails total, having started out on a good note, I'm excited. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the raspberry lemongrass, which I love lemongrass and I love cocktails that incorporate lemongrass. I think it's a wildly underused aromatic. So again, this is one that I'm excited for. So I don't get any lemongrass in this at all in the aroma. It really just smells like raspberry. Okay, so I get the lemongrass in the flavor, but it's not good. It actually kind of ruins the raspberry. It's almost like it almost comes off as like a little bit medicinal, and because the raspberry has that sort of like candied raspberry quality to it, those two things are not meshing well, not for me anyway. Out of a glass, this smells like literally nothing, like absolutely nothing. Like all the aroma that I was getting from the can is gone. It doesn't taste as medicinal out of a glass, but it's still definitely there. Like that lemongrass in there does not work. So I'm super disappointed that I didn't like this. I'm not sure who this is for. All right, so now we're gonna try the grapefruit rosemary, which I'm super excited for. I love it when, just like with the lemongrass, even though that didn't work, I really do love like big herbaceous cocktails. So I'm hoping that this works. I know that sometimes these herbs don't work so well in cocktails, so we'll just see if they did a little better with the rosemary than they did with the lemongrass. Oh my God, holy grapefruit. This smells like the freshest, like ruby red grapefruit I've ever smelled in my life. It smells really good. I don't get any rosemary in the aroma, but that doesn't mean it's not there. Okay, if you give it a second little sniff, then the rosemary's there, and it's like very subtle and it smells super nice. Okay, this one is done. The balance here is way better than in the raspberry lemongrass one. This one is definitely mostly grapefruit, and then the rosemary just comes in as a nice little like savory hint at the finish, because the front is like, it's tart, but it's also like a little bit sweet, and then it just finishes with that like herbal rosemary. So I think this is pretty good. I like this a lot. The aroma's pretty much the same out of a glass, which is weird to me, but there it is. So the biggest difference that I noticed between drinking it out of a glass and drinking it out of a can is that out of a glass, the rosemary is not more predominant, but not quite as subtle. It still comes in at the same juncture that it does out of the can, but you can taste it a little bit more, and I'm not upset about that. Like, I think it's good. I like this a whole lot. All right, so we're gonna move on to the ready to drink cocktails now. And I'm excited for these flavors because you've got a berry Vodkarita. You're speaking my language there. There's a grapefruit Paloma. That's my jam. And then the one that we're going to do last is the mango mule, because obviously, like ginger, just like with the rosemary, can be a palate wrecker. Not that I thought that the rosemary in the vodka soda was overpowering or a palate wrecker. Not by any means. It was so subtle that it was a non-issue. However, with a canned cocktail, I imagine that the flavors are going to be a little more pungent. So anyway, so we're going to go in this exact order. So we're going to start with the Vodkarita, we're going to go to the Grapefruit Paloma, and then last we're going to do the Mango Mule. I don't know how this is possible, but this like full alcohol, full calorie, full sugar Vodkarita has less aroma than any one of the vodka sodas did. I don't know the rhyme or reason behind that, but man, there's not a whole lot happening here. But it's really tasty. This reminds me of like Nerds, but it's like not like classic Nerds. Oh hey, this one has color and it's kind of pretty. It's like a purplish kind of pink, which is just really driving home that whole like thought process behind it. Kind of tastes like this candy that I used to know and love. Out of a glass, it's even more candy-ish. It definitely has like a sweet tart, but not quite as tart as a sweet tart kind of flavor, which is why I'm leaning towards it tastes like Nerds. It tastes like berry flavored Nerds. And I like it, but I definitely couldn't drink a lot of it because it is pretty sweet. Okay, so moving on, we're gonna go into the Grapefruit Paloma. I think it's a little weird that Absolut Vodka made a Grapefruit Paloma because that's a cocktail that's traditionally made with like tequila or a mezcal. So it'll be interesting to see how this works. Because for me, I'm an equal opportunist. I like Palomas made with tequila and I like Palomas made with mezcal. But in a perfect world, I would always have my Palomas made with mezcal because I love what that smoky quality brings to the table when you're talking about grapefruit. So we'll see how a vodka company pulled off a Paloma. This one smells super good too. So where the grapefruit rosemary vodka soda smelled like a super fresh ruby red, this one's more like a pink grapefruit. Okay, this is yummy and I like it a lot, but I don't know that in any world I would have called it a Paloma. It doesn't taste like a Paloma to me at all. It's tasty though. This one also has a little bit of color. It's a little bit lighter. Putting it in a glass didn't really change a whole lot. It's still kind of that like pink, tart grapefruit. It tastes a little bit sweeter out of a glass. Other than that, again, wouldn't call it a Paloma, but it's yummy. All right, last but hopefully not least is gonna be the Mango Mule. Now, I love mango and I love mules. So I have some pretty high hopes for this. So far, this has been largely positive. So I'm expecting some big things here. This smells very gingery. This borderline smells spicy. And there's not a whole lot of mango in the aroma. So we'll see how it presents in the actual flavor. Whoa, okay. Wild. There's a ton of mango in the flavor and it's like juicy, like really like perfectly ripe, where it's like not so ripe that it's nothing but sweet and it still retains some of that tartness that exists when a mango is still young. It is delicious. It is phenomenally delicious. Not really a lot of color here, but it is like just a touch hazy, which I kind of appreciate. Out of a glass, you can definitely smell the mango. There's no question. In fact, it's really difficult to pick out the ginger. So it's funny how those two things are flip-flopped from going from a can into a glass. Taste-wise, it's pretty much the same out of a glass as it was out of the can. Still very like juicy mango. And honestly, the ginger's lost even more in a glass than it is out of a can, and that part doesn't really surprise me. So final thoughts on the Absolut canned cocktails and vodka sodas. Overall, I think that this was wildly successful. Like, these are really, really tasty. Were there some that I think could have been done better? Yeah, I do. But there wasn't a single one of them that I thought, oh my God, this is awful, and I would never drink it. If there was one that I would say I would probably never drink again, it would be the raspberry and lemongrass, because the raspberry and the lemongrass, they just clashed in the middle and it created this sort of medicinal taste that was pretty off-putting. Not unbearable, but not something that I would seek out ever. So if we break it down by category, so you have your low calorie, low carb, or low calorie, no carb vodka sodas, I would say that the clear winner was the lime and cucumber. I would totally spend $12 to $15 on a 4-pack of that. That is crushable. It's refreshing. It is absolutely delicious. Then second, obviously, because well, I just would be the grapefruit rosemary. I really, really liked the like big ruby red grapefruit flavor in the grapefruit. This is the time that he needs the most attention. Like, oh my God, there's a camera. I'm going to go get in front of it. So anyway, so the grapefruit in the grapefruit rosemary to me was definitely the thing that made it so good. I do wish that there was a little more of the rosemary present in that, but overall I thought it was yummy and I would drink it again. I don't know if I would spend $12 to $15 for a 4-pack of it, but you know, if it was available at like an outdoor event or something like that, I would probably choose it. Moving on to the canned cocktails, the full calorie, higher alcohol, 21 grams of carbs cocktails. Bye-bye, booby. If I had to say which one was my favorite, it's a clear winner. It was the Mango Mule. It was delicious. Then I would probably say after that, it was the Berry Vodkarita. And then coming in last for me would be the Grapefruit Paloma, mostly because you called yourself a Paloma and it really didn't taste like one. Was it tasty? Yeah, it was. but it didn't taste like a Paloma. So if I lump them all together and have to say like how I would rank it, number one, I would go Mango Mule. Out of all six, I think the Mango Mule is my favorite. And then I would probably go with the Absolut, the lime and cucumber. And then I would probably go grapefruit rosemary, the berry vodkarita, the grapefruit paloma, and then the raspberry lemongrass. To me, that one was definitely executed the most poorly. So that is how I feel about the new Absolut canned cocktails and the new Absolut vodka sodas. Take that information, do with it what you will. Thanks for watching.